Welcome to HFY HeroFi, where the ordinary become extraordinary. Here we celebrate the fearless, the champions who rise against impossible odds. From tales of bravery in distant galaxies to the darkest corners of the supernatural, HFY HeroFi brings you the ultimate stories of heroism. If you believe you've been chosen, heed the call and subscribe now. Let us HeroFi you, and come with us on our next adventure. Today's adventure is called The Hunt for the Truth. On their journey to save Maya's mother, Helen Hunt and Juan Diego discover a terrifying alien plot. When the mission goes horribly wrong, Helen is forced into a corner. Can they recover from their failure and find a way to stop the looming threat? "I don't know anything else," Johnny said. "I swear, Helen, don't hurt me." Helen had Johnny pinned against the cold brick wall of the alley. Her hazel eyes, sharp as broken glass, pierced his. After a while, she let him go. "2 people have gone missing from your block, and you expect me to believe you don't know anything?" Her athletic frame was a testament to a life spent on the move, chasing the wicked and fleeing from danger. "Better than to lie to me, right?" Johnny dusted himself off, flashing a nervous grin. "Yeah. Last time you came over here asking for information, couldn't walk right for a week." "Yo, Juan, why's your girl so aggressive?" Juan Diego smirked. He was Helen's mysterious partner. Even she didn't know much about him, only that he was named after the Juan Diego that had witnessed the miracle of the Virgin Mary on the mountain of Tepeyac. He was much calmer than Helen was, and much more aligned with the Lord and his Christian faith. "Maybe it's because you're not giving us all the information," Juan said, his voice smooth as silk. Johnny exhaled sharply. "I swear it's easier dealing with Brooklyn PD than with you people," Johnny said. "I already told you everything I know. Miriam and David were working at the docks. I'm doing my thing on the streets here. Next thing I know, Lucy's talking about how she hasn't seen Miriam or David in 4 days. I'm thinking maybe they was tweaking out somewhere, you know? I don't know. I didn't really know them. All I know is that they're missing, and I don't want to be next." "Fine," Helen said. "If you hear anything else, make sure to let us know." "Don't forget I got that file on you," Helen said. Johnny rolled his eyes. "You never let me forget." Helen and Juan made their way back to their office, their minds swirling with unanswered questions. The private investigator sign on the door rattled as Helen slammed the door shut. "All these people have disappeared, and you're telling me no one knows anything?" "The only common factor is the docks," Juan said. "That's our next place to go." The neon sign from the bodega across the street bled crimson through the office window, casting a blood-like glow across weathered case files. Shadows danced like restless spirits across peeling wallpaper, whispering of forgotten mysteries and unresolved pain. Her eyes tracked another missing persons report, her fingertips tracing the fuzzy outlines of names that had vanished into the city's dark underbelly. Each disappearance felt like a personal affront, a challenge she couldn't ignore. She let out a loud sigh and looked at her bulletin board. It was full of printouts and images related to the recent disappearances in Brooklyn. There was a news article about the City Hall collapse, images of the missing people and the possible locations of their abduction, and a picture of Johnny. She crossed it out with a red marker. Another dead end. I'm running out of informants. Suddenly, the stairwell groaned with approaching footsteps, a sound more desperate than deliberate. The door burst open, and a little girl appeared in the doorway, raw vulnerability etched into every line of her face. "Helen Hunt?" The girl's voice trembled, a fragile wire ready to snap. "You're the detective lady, right?" "Depends on who's asking," Helen said as she closed the file she had been reading. She was staring at a girl no more than 10 years old, her frame small and thin. "They say you find people nobody else will look for, right?" "You help people, I have money." She stepped forward, her hands trembling as she pulled a wad of crumpled 20s from her pocket. Her shoulders sagged. "It's not much, but it's all I got." Juan approached quietly, his presence a calm counterweight to the girl's electric tension. "Don't worry about payment right now," he said, pressing a steaming cup of tea into her hand. The gesture was paternal, practiced a ritual of comfort born from countless desperate encounters. What's your name? Maya Johnson, the girl said, her surname falling like a challenge. My mom Rose has been missing for 3 days, and nobody has any clue where she is. Helen leaned forward, the fluorescent light catching the silver scar that ran along her jawline, a reminder of investigations gone wrong. Tell me everything. Maya's story spilled out like a fractured mirror. Rose worked night shifts at a warehouse near the Brooklyn docks. Her mom would come home talking about weird disappearances and how scared she was. Coworkers would vanish for hours, returning with vacant expressions. Her boss, Mr. Carter, dismissed her worries. Rose kept asking around, trying to find out what was going on. Then Rose herself disappeared. My family's been searching the streets, Maya said. Her fingers wrapped tightly around the teacup, but it's like she's been erased. No one knows anything. We'll find her, Helen promised. A vow etched with steel and something deeper. Keep your money, kid. Juan kneeled in front of Maya. You have somewhere safe to stay? Maya nodded. Yeah, my aunt's house. We'll take you back home. It's late and you shouldn't be walking the streets alone, Juan said. Maya handed him the teacup and the three of them left the PI office. After they had ensured Maya's safety, the two of them decided to pay the docks another visit. The Brooklyn docks breathed with a primordial atmosphere, salt, rust, and secrets mingling in the evening fog. Shipping containers loomed like industrial monoliths, their surfaces scarred and silent. Workers moved with a mechanical precision that felt rehearsed, their eyes avoiding direct contact. Helen's investigation felt like peeling back layers of an infected wound. Each question met resistance, each conversation a carefully choreographed dance of half-truths and calculated omissions. Disappearances. The dock supervisor's laugh cut like a jagged knife. People come and go, this is New York. But a micro-tremor in his hand betrayed something deeper. Fear, perhaps. Or knowledge. Thanks for your help, Jack, Helen said, extending her hand to shake his. He ignored it, stomped on his cigarette, and left. Helen and Juan waited until nightfall. Carefully, without being spotted, they searched the area for over an hour, finding little but discarded shipping crates and broken glass. Helen's frustration grew with each passing minute, until a faint noise caught her attention. It was a low hum, almost mechanical but eerily rhythmic, emanating from a derelict warehouse at the edge of the docks. Hear that? She whispered. Juan nodded, his hand instinctively gripping the cross around his neck. Something lies ahead and it's not human. Inside the warehouse, the hum grew louder, accompanied by an odd, pulsating white light, spilling from beneath a trapdoor. Helen crouched near the door, inspecting it. Etched in the wood were strange symbols, geometric yet organic, resembling no known language. Juan knelt beside her, murmuring a quiet prayer in Spanish. The atmosphere shifted, it felt heavier, charged with an unseen presence. The trapdoor led to a narrow staircase spiraling into darkness. Helen's flashlight cut through the gloom, revealing walls lined with strange, metallic glyphs that seemed to shimmer and shift as they descended. At the bottom of the stairs, they entered a massive underground chamber that hummed with energy. In the center of the room stood a towering obelisk made of an otherworldly metal, its surface pulsating with white light that filled the chamber. Around it were several human-shaped pods hanging from the ceiling, each containing a missing person in a state of suspended animation. What the hell is this? Helen whispered. Just then, a tall, slender figure stepped out from behind a pile of crates. Its skin was a translucent gray, its elongated eyes glowing faintly. It raised a spindly hand, and the hum in the room grew louder, vibrating through Helen's chest. In the other, it dragged a human body. It's fortunate you're here, the creature said, its voice resonating directly in their minds. You humans are exquisite, soft, plentiful, and brimming with the energy we hunger for. Both Helen and Juan ducked behind a tall pile of shipping pallets. Helen tightened her grip on her gun. Why do you still carry that thing? Juan asked. Your shield of faith is enough. Just in case, Helen said. I don't want what happened in Harlem to happen again. Remember, your faith is your greatest strength. I don't have time for this right now, Juan. What are you doing with these people? Helen yelled from behind the crates. The alien tilted its head, studying them. You humans are full of nutrients we require. We will continue to take as many of you as we need through the gate. Gate? Helen asked, turning to Juan. What gate? I wonder if it's that blue sphere behind the obelisk. Juan said. Just then a low rumble shook the chamber. The obelisk's light grew brighter, and the pods began to vibrate. Helen's instinct screamed danger. Juan, move, she yelled, just as a beam of light shot from the obelisk toward them. Juan reacted instantly, raising his cross. Holy Spirit, protect us, he shouted. A shimmering shield of light erupted from the cross, absorbing the beam. The alien hissed and recoiled. At that moment, a shrill scream shattered the silence. Helen peeked out from behind the pallet, her gun pointed at the alien. The body he had been holding was actually a woman that bore a striking resemblance to Maya. The woman pulled at the alien's hand in vain as she desperately tried to free herself. Let her go. Helen's words ricocheted off the walls like bullets. Helen's shield of faith flared as she charged, slamming it into the creature with all her might. To her left, she shot off her gun, taking down one of the other aliens in the shoulder. Juan followed close behind, his cross blazing with holy energy as he unleashed bursts of light to keep the aliens at bay. More aliens emerged from the blue sphere behind the obelisk. The more aliens they knocked down, the more seemed to take their place. Where the hell are they coming from? There's too many. Helen screamed as one slammed into her holy shield. Its light flickered as it crashed into her shield over and over, pinning her against the wall. The creature screeched, its elongated limbs twisting and lashing out in a frenzy. Juan darted toward Rose, slashing through the strange tendrils that had her body gripped. But as he finally got to her, a beam of energy from the alien struck Juan straight through the lower back and took out Rose too. No, Helen yelled, using all of the rage and pain to fight against the alien in front of her. She pushed it back and then shot it in the head. Green splattered on the wall behind it. Helen dodged alien blasts as she zigzagged to get to Juan and Rose. It was too late. When she got to them, Rose's body went limp in her hands, her final breath slipping away before Helen could even tell her to hang on. Behind her, Juan had directed the Lord's holy energy to start healing his torn and bloodied torso. We have to go, she said through deep breaths, her voice urgent and pained. Gritting her teeth, tears streaming down her face, Helen turned away, her shield covering their retreat as the alien screeches grew deafening behind him. They fled, leaving Rose's lifeless body behind, the weight of failure pressing heavier on Helen with every step. No, we must stand and fight, Juan said, shaking Helen off of him. Don't be so weak of faith and run away. There's too many of them, and you're injured. You need time to heal. Juan turned around. We cannot abandon them. Let's go back. Juan thrust his hand forward, releasing a wave of holy energy that struck the creatures, sending them sprawling. Helen covered him from behind, shooting multiple times toward the aliens. They dodged each bullet with ease as they advanced toward them. We've got to destroy that obelisk, Helen shouted, dodging another blast from the aliens. Once we take out that weapon, we can focus on the gate. Juan nodded, channeling his energy to create a protective barrier around the pods. We will keep them safe, you go. Helen sprinted toward the obelisk, her shield of faith manifesting in her free hand as a glowing barrier. She slammed it into the base of the obelisk, the force sending cracks spidering up its surface. More alien beams shot at her from the distance as the aliens closed in. With one hand, she used her shield of faith to block the shots, and with the other, she tried to tear down the obelisk. The hum from the obelisk grew deafening, and the light from it began to weaken. It's working, she yelled just as an alien closed in, slamming her into the ground. Her shield began to fade as doubt crept into her mind. You cannot win. The alien said, its tendrils tightening around her throat. You are weak. You are meant to be our food. Helen struggled, gasping for air. Across the room, Juan's voice cut through the chaos. Helen, our Lord has given us a spirit of power, not one of fear. Do not be afraid. His words sparked something within her. She gritted her teeth, forcing herself to focus. Her shield reignited, blazing with renewed strength. With a burst of energy, she threw the alien off her and rose to her feet. "My faith might waver," she said, summoning a wall of light to pin the alien against the obelisk. "But the Lord is always with me." Juan joined her at the obelisk, his cross glowing brighter than ever. "Together," he said. He expanded the protective barrier as he aided Helen in her effort to destroy the obelisk. They combined their powers, Helen's shield reinforcing Juan's holy energy. The obelisk began to crumble, its light fading. But as it did, the aliens let out ear-piercing screams, breaking free from Helen's wall of light. "Get them!" one of the aliens shrieked. "We need the gate to transport the humans." The obelisk shattered, releasing a blinding wave of energy that knocked both her and Juan to the ground. When the dust settled, the aliens were gone, and the chamber was silent. The pods began to open, their occupants stirring. Helen staggered to her feet, helping a dazed woman out of her pod. "It's over," she said. "Maybe," Juan said, though his voice was uncertain. He scooped up Rose's body into his healing embrace and followed Helen up the stairs. As they escorted the survivors back to the surface of the warehouse, they heard a low rumble from behind them. When they turned, they saw an alien monstrous in size. Helen turned to Juan, panic in her eyes. "Where'd that thing come from? I thought we had gotten them all." Juan laid Rose's body on the ground and readied himself for battle once again. Maybe it came through the gate before the obelisk was destroyed. He stepped forward, his cross blazing with divine light. "Holy Spirit, give me strength," he prayed, his voice resonating with power. He charged at the creature, releasing a torrent of holy energy that clashed against its dark form. Helen watched in awe and horror as Juan battled the monster, his light cutting through its shadows. But the fight was taking its toll. Juan's movements slowed, his light flickering. "No!" Helen shouted, running to his side. She summoned her shield, pouring every ounce of her faith into it. Suddenly, a scream cut through the chaos. She turned, her heart sinking as she saw Maya, who had disobeyed their warnings and was in the warehouse. The little girl was crouched behind a crate, her face pale with terror as she cradled her mother's body. Juan shot a beam of light that slammed into the alien and knocked it back. He stood shakily, his cross blazing with renewed energy. "Protect the girl." Helen abandoned her position to sprint toward Maya. Maya whimpered from behind the crate. Helen crawled toward her, pulling the girl into her arms. Maya's breathing was shallow, and her eyes fluttered closed. "I've got you," Helen muttered, her hands trembling as she held the girl. The alien shifted, preparing to strike them both. Helen threw her shield forward, the radiant barrier expanding in midair to intercept the attack. The tendrils collided with the shield and disintegrated in bursts of light. But the effort left Helen momentarily vulnerable. The alien lashed out, striking Helen with a powerful blow that sent her sprawling to the ground. Her shield wavered, and doubt crept into her mind as pain radiated through her body. The alien loomed over her, its claws raised for the final strike. Juan stepped forward, his cross burning like a star. He extended his hand, sending beams of light to repeatedly pierce the alien from the back. At the same time, her shield expanded outward, forming a radiant wall that stopped the creature midair. With a shout, Helen drove the wall forward, slamming the alien into the warehouse's far wall. Cracks spread through the concrete as the creature writhed, its claws scraping against the unyielding light. Helen pressed forward, her shield cutting into its essence like a blade of divine light. She raised her shield high, its light intensifying until it filled the entire chamber. With a final cry, she slammed it down onto the alien. The impact sent a shockwave of energy rippling outward. The alien lay motionless on the ground. Helen dropped to her knees, exhausted but victorious. Helen staggered to her feet and hurried to Maya's side. The girl stirred, her eyes fluttering open as Helen gently shook her. "Maya," she whispered, relief flooding her voice. "You're okay." "Mom?" Maya mumbled weakly. She crawled to her mom's body and rested her head on her chest. "Don't die, Mom." Tears streamed down her face as she clung to her mother. Maya felt someone pet her head. When she pulled away from her mom's body, she realized it wasn't Helen petting her, but Rose, Mom. Both of them embraced, grateful to be alive. Helen smiled, and then she walked over to Juan. He leaned heavily against the wall, his face pale but his expression calm. Helen moved to his side, looping his arm over her shoulder to support him. "You're a mess," she said with a tired smile. "So are you," he replied, his voice soft. "But we made it, together." They led the survivors out of the warehouse. The first rays of dawn painted the Brooklyn skyline in hues of gold and pink. Helen paused, looking up at the sky as a sense of peace washed over her. Juan's words echoed in her mind. "Your faith is your greatest strength." She glanced at Juan, who nodded knowingly. For the first time in a long while, Helen felt the truth of those words resonate deeply. Faith had carried them through, and it would carry them still. Did you enjoy today's adventure? Stay tuned for next week, where we follow the next hero as they overcome impossible odds. Want to be in our next story? Leave a comment with a description of your hero and see if you're selected.